What's going on, everybody? Lelo here from ReadySetGo, and I have the pleasure today of speaking with the executive director / founder over at Wagyu Games and Undead Blocks, Grant Haseley. Grant, how we doing today, my man?
Leo, always a pleasure to talk to you. Appreciate you having me on today. Looking forward to talking to your listeners. Today's a great day to be Undead Blocks. It's a great day to be alive, and just happy to be here and answer any questions you might have.
Absolutely. We're excited for what's coming up with Undead Blocks as well. You know, we got a huge tournament that's going on this weekend. We'll jump right into that as well. But before I get into anything, man, Undead Blocks, first-person shooter, kill to earn concept. We've seen play to earn. We've seen, moves to earn. Tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of how you were introduced to blockchain technology in general.
Yeah, so I appreciate the intro there, because you're right. There are a lot of things X and earn, right? Learn and earn, move and earn, play and earn. So now we're moving into kill to earn. But for those of you that don't know who I am someone who is coming to Web3 from the world of Web2 banking. And so actually, I went to school for math and data science. I was always interested into numbers. I got into crypto and cryptography very early in my life. And so, this was a natural pivot for me. I was actually at Goldman Sachs. I was working in their securities lending division, doing some asset management, working with large pension funds, Fido, Fidelity, California State Educators Retirement Fund, etc. Eventually decided, look, I'm not really into banking. This isn't my life's passion. It's not really what I wanted to do. I was always a gamer. I was always into video gaming. And I saw what was going on with Axie. And I figured, okay, these tokenomics don't make sense to me. They don't really have a way to curb the hyperinflation. I could build a stronger, more sustainable tokenomic structure. I just need the game. And so from our perspective, that's where Undead Blocks came about, because COD Zombies was one of my favorite games growing up. And the franchise has actually been, put to bed by Activision, but Treyarch, etc. They're not really investing a lot of time, energy, resources into COD Zombies anymore, and their community is really upset about it. So felt this was a unique opportunity to create a first-person shooter. That kill to earn moniker is strong, because this is a new concept. Actually owning your weapons in the game, your skins, being able to buy, sell, trade the assets that you're using in the game to play is a really unique concept. And we're really excited to see how it shakes out.
Yeah, and I'll go back to what you kind of mentioned with Axie Infinity and how they're kind of figuring it out, and just how they pioneered the space itself. There are definitely some problems with innovation and with experimentation in general. I noticed you guys were offering, and I don't want to talk too much about tokenomics, because you and I both agree that it's more about the game itself than the tokens. But I was curious.
Oh, we got to talk about it though.
Yeah, absolutely. I was curious on the stable in-game reward currency and how that works.
Sometimes when you make a system that's too complex, there's a lot of ways for it to go wrong. There's a lot of ways for there to be issues. And so from our perspective, the system is as simple as generate revenue, use it to pay out players. So we're not creating a secondary currency out of scratch, putting it on a DEX or a centralized exchange and saying, this is your reward, because we all know what happens to that. It goes to zero. People just want to sell it. There's no incentive for holding. And so from our perspective, we are going to limit the amount of the reward currency that's being issued. It's called gold ZBUX, but really it's just collateralized US dollar. And so for example, we have a $20,000 pistol speed run competition that's running this weekend. It's fully sponsored by Double Peak, which is one of our venture capital partners. And so as a player, you say, okay, I'm participating in one of these tournaments. Oh, I know exactly where the money's coming from. It was from a sponsorship. And so that is the model. We're taking the esports tournament approach, generate that revenue through sponsors, show the value of our platform, migrate and onboard a lot of players through these free-to-play tournaments, and then have them stay for NFT-only tournaments, as well as, a lot of other challenges and quests that we can do. But, creating a secondary currency out of scratch and then just assigning it to people, I think it's pretty well known now that that's going to go to zero. So from our perspective, just fully collateralizing each dollar we pay out in terms of the earnings, and then having set revenue sources and drivers where that comes from is going to be really huge for us.
Right. And I know that you guys have the tournament coming up. $20,000 is, 20 bands that gamers get to play for.
Or X.
Yeah, right. So you can do a lot with it, right?
Well, I know, so that's a good point, because look, some people are going to come to us, and the doubters and the haters are going to say, well, you guys are just COD Zombies, right? Why would I go pay XYZ to play COD Zombies? And my answer is how often have you made money playing COD Zombies? Or have you just been continuing to pay out of your pocket for DLC packs or Fortnite skins or CSGO skins? You know, these other games, they hire psychologists to try to examine the human brain so they can suck as much money dry out of you. And what our proposition is, invest in our ecosystem, come and enjoy a game with other like-minded gamers and earn every single day. And that's what we want to do, because right now the gaming system, the gaming industry is flawed. They're physically trying to use human behavior to manipulate every dollar out of your wallet. Our model is so different. It's, you know, invest in the ecosystem, use the power and the scale and size of, you know, our group and our environment to essentially leverage sponsors to pay for these tournaments because they see value in our portfolio of players. And that's really where we want to get to in the next 6 to 12 months.
Right. And then that was the one thing that caught my attention immediately. The game itself is so entertaining to play, and it can be tailored very easily around esports, right? And you and I, you know, talk about it when we met as well over in New York, and last time we spoke, you know, these games need content creators. They don't necessarily, you know, they need, of course, they need, you know, gamers. But when the freemium model was introduced, when Fortnite was introduced, I mean, why, you know, you and I talk about it. Why was Fortnite popular? I mean, so many people were streaming, were having, you know, interactive, digestible content for gamers to just, you know, get involved with this kind of game. And so, yeah.
Well, Fortnite really got hot because, like you said, of the freemium model, where it's no barrier to entry to play, and then they upsell you to try to feel like you're in a club. And so we're taking a similar approach in that we're going to be, this entire summer, there's going to be free to play tournaments sponsored by different groups, whether it's Web3 groups, NFT collections, alphas. We're taking that similar approach to get people in the door. And we're going to say, okay, now you had fun, you got to earn for free. This is something that's brand new. And then eventually migrating towards the battle pass, where you got to hold X amount of undead token, which is our governance token. And then you'll have access to these tournaments, challenges, quests, etc. You can also buy skins with either the gold ZBUX that you earn, undead token for some weapons. Like, there's a lot of different ways that we can do those purchases, but it's not something where we're forcing our players to make the choice. Right. We want them to do it because they think it's fun. And that's why we always talk about the fun factor, Leo. You got to make sure it's fun. You know, one of the founders of Axie said, oh, if the game's fun enough, but people are earning, that's enough. I violently disagree with that statement, because if your game isn't fun, you're going to die. It will disappear. More games will come down the road. And so we want to build this franchise so large that it's too big to fail. Eventually, we have so many players that these Web3 and these eventually Web2 sponsors are going to say, we want this portfolio of players, because they're all owning either crypto or an NFT. It's a very powerful use case and a very powerful base of players to eventually layer on some of these sponsored tournaments that just allows more players to come in. It's a positive cycle. When you think about traditional play to earn, there's this violent scale of Ponzi-nomics happening where the old players have to pay the new players. In this kind of scenario, players are encouraged to tell their friends. Sure, the prize pool eventually will get smaller and smaller per player if we're keeping the amount of payouts fixed. Sponsors, for example, if we do a $10,000 tournament, there's 10,000 players versus 100,000. Those 10,000 players would make a lot more, right? But when we get to 100,000, 250, 500,000 players, then we can start racking in serious funds. Okay, so now there's 500,000 players. If you're any brand in the world and you just want to advertise the gamers, you're going to come right here. Oh, by the way, now we can also advertise with crypto companies. Like, if you want to try to get buy pressure on your token or your NFT collection, what better way to do that than invest through Undead Blocks ecosystem? So we love the model. We're tripling down on it. I truly believe this is the way, this is the future. Even if you look at what Mark Cuban said about Axie, he comes out and he says, Axie has no way to generate revenue. Have to generate revenue, use it to pay your players. Yeah.
I mean, exactly. And right now, the problem is the incentive right now for gamers is just that making money earning aspect, right? And now that we're seeing, you know, obviously with this bear market, you know, players that if the incentive was only to make money and you're making this in-game currency and the market's down, I mean, now these players are starting to realize, I'm not having fun. You know, I was making some sort of currency. The only reason I was doing it is because I was incentivized to make X amount of money. but now I don't like the game now that I'm not even making any kind of money. So people are starting
Correct.
to realize really where we're going, the trend towards where these games are really going.
So from our perspective, we've parsed the Twitter data. And when Axie and Peg Axie were failing, and Satan Arena to an extent, people were saying, doesn't matter what we do, we'll click the button, pay us. We never want to get to that point where people feel entitled to the money.
Right.
Okay. It's always going to be a battle because people want money, right? They're money incentivized. But when you get to the point where people physically say, I do not want to play your game, I just want to click the mouse and make money, that's a big, big, big problem. And so having more of these content creators, making this game go mainstream through like Web 2 content creation and making it fun, making it fresh, having multiplayer squads mode, eventually moving into zombie royales, developing a sequel that's a straight Call of Duty PvP shooter. Maybe there's even zombies coming at you. That's where we need to go.
Right. And
building a franchise, making people feeling like there's a story, that something is happening here. It's bigger than just coming in, clicking the mouse and trying to earn. That's where we need to get to, because that's how you attain mass adoption. Like Call of Duty didn't just stop after one Call of Duty.
Right.
They made Call of Duty after Call of Duty, where Call of Duty, again, their model, what's different for our perspective that we don't like is, they don't track your progress. Warzone 2 is not going to have any of the progress from Warzone 1. Why? They want you to buy all the new skins. You got to, every time there's a new game, you got to pay that $70. With Undead Blocks, absolutely, you can be rest assured the NFTs we have in our first game will be playable with our second game and our third game and our fourth game. And we'll also layer on and add more stuff too, of course, but this is a franchise. We want you to be able to save your progress, track your progress, and build out your skins, like own them, have complete ownership of your assets is what we want to do. People ask us, why didn't you just release this game on Steam and just try to sell skins for money? And my answer always is because then we're no better than everybody else. So we believe in the power of Web3 gaming. We believe in digital asset ownership and empowerment. And that's really the approach we want to take.
Right. And could you also talk a little bit about I know you mentioned on your last stream, the dynamic leaderboard that's going to be incorporated as well.
I love the dynamic leaderboard. So for your listeners out there, if you guys have ever played DraftKings or FanDuel and you get into these guaranteed prize pools, well, they're uncapped. Like they can have unlimited amount of players. And so what we've been able to do with our devs is just make a leaderboard where everybody's going to get paid that owns an NFT for this first tournament for 20,000. So we have about 2,000 holders right now. So $1,000 is guaranteed to first place. The rest is going to be completely determined by the algorithm based on how many players play. And the last place gets $1, first place gets 1,000, and the rest of the payouts will be completely determined by the algorithm based on how many players enter, which is really cool.
Nice. And I know there's also going to be a lending system of some sort incorporated. I know right now the tournament, the $20,000 cash speedrun challenge is for Genesis as well as Apocalypse holders. But later on, there will be another chance this summer as well. It's for anyone to come in. There's no excuse, right? Before it was like, oh, I don't have the NFT, this and that. I couldn't stake. Now there's no excuse at all. Now
exactly.
Yeah.
So what we see this funny dichotomy happening. We'll post a TikTok and we'll say $20,000 pistol speedrun must hold an NFT. Then you'll see 150 bots come in and say, oh, NFT scam, fake, minor, rug, blah blah blah. And then when we say, oh, by the way, we're running free to play tournaments and earn, everybody gets really quiet, Leo. They don't have, there's no debate. They say, I'm in. Like eventually everybody smiles and says, okay, I'm going to play. Like these will be the mass adoption events that we need to grow the amount of Wagyu players in our ecosystem. I'm sure of it. And especially for these third world emerging market countries where, if you're earning $6, $7 a day, that's minimum wage. You come into a tournament that's free to play crypto tournament. Oh, $1,000 to first place. We might have the entire country of Philippines play. Like Philippines is obsessed with play to earn. So yeah, I mean, we're really excited. We're excited to see what this looks like. And we do have some large backing behind the scenes to be able to sponsor these tournaments for us so we can show people here's where the money's coming from. Right. Because that's always been the black box in crypto is, where are your funds coming from? Generating revenue, using it to pay players, having a P&L. That is what I believe in. I'm coming from straight business world of banking at the highest level where I was basically managing all of the FP&A for M&T Bank. We had to make sure that our financials and our profitability was strong. And that's what we're taking the same approach with Wagyu Games, with Undead Blocks being our first game is How do we make sure that we are solvent to pay players and pay them accordingly?
Mhm.
What the players are going to say is no fucking way. We're in crypto where everything is so volatile and things are moving up and down and people invest in NFTs getting rugged left and right. And Undead Blocks is paying people every single weekend, eventually every single week. They're going to say, we love this shit. And so that's when we're really going to go viral.
Right. And then that mass adoption really will start clicking in its sense as well. You know, more inclusivity on that end, less player commitment, because, you know, if I'm a gamer putting up $600,000 up front and then playing a video game, the first thing I'm thinking about is ROI. Where's my money?
Of course.
As soon as I get my money back. Yeah.
You see these games where they're charging $5,000 for a piece of land. And you're like, what are we trying to do here? You guys want to talk about mass adoption, and yet you're putting a gate out and a barrier to entry so that the players that don't have anything, that are trying to earn, to try to make a living for themselves, like can't play it.
Right.
Now, I get the gilding model, right? You have the asset owners rent out. We're doing the same thing, like you said, with the lending, where we're going to be able to rent your weapons. Of course, I believe in that. And you should be able to invest in an ecosystem and in turn be able to use that asset as you choose. But if there is no free-to-play option, I'm sorry, you'll never get mass adoption, never.
Right. Well, one thing I really liked about Undead Blocks is the game loop. You know, you talked about a little bit on your stream, the game loop. I don't necessarily have to spend 6 to 8 hours playing this video game. Now I can actually just kind of play, go as far as I can, and then just, you know, hop off the game and hop right back in seamlessly, right? I don't necessarily have to be playing for a consecutive X amount of hours to earn something or along those lines. So could you talk? Yeah.
You have such a unique opportunity with Undead Blocks because people are clocking speedruns under 4 minutes. You could say, okay, there's an Undead Blocks tournament happening this weekend, and you could go log on to the game. You log on and you play one speedrun for 5 minutes. You clock your time, or maybe you do it like 4 times and say, well, I gave it my best. And then you log off. And then you come back that night and you say, where did I place? How much did I earn? Oh, I earned $2 or $3. You know, because let's say you weren't really going hard. You just want to do it casually. You earned something. Your time was no longer wasted. But it also curtails to people that want to go ape and they want to go full degen and play and do speed running for 12 hours a day and clock their best time. Maybe they'll make more. Maybe they're in contention for the first place prize, which is $1,000. So we're literally curtailing to every gamer. We have the gamers that say, I want to perfect my time, I want to perfect my form. But you also have the casual people that say, I just want to come in, do a couple runs, and then go. And even when we have the squads mode, the multiplayer mode, that will be amplified by 100 because then you're going to have everyone with their friends show up. Hey, let's clock our best time, or hey, let's see how many waves we can survive. It's really an easy gameplay loop. We talked about this at NFT NYC. There's 2 factions to play to earn right now. These web browser-based games that aren't fun. They're essentially decentralized yield farming, but you can earn, and you earn a secondary currency. Then you have these quote-unquote AAA gaming studios that put out this really elaborate teaser. They pay $150,000, $200,000, put out this huge teaser, and then they actually never deliver any gameplay at all. So, you know, you don't really have anyone in the middle. And I like to believe we're right in the middle where we have a fun gameplay loop. There's a lot of room for us to expand, a lot of room for us to really fly with this game. But we also have a tried and true product that people we know enjoy, a gameplay loop that people really love. Like you look at COD Zombies on YouTube, and there's still millions of views a day on the videos, and people like the thought of a zombie shooter. You're looking at The Walking Dead lasted 10 years, OG COD Zombies 15 years, 32 maps, World War Z, one of the most famous movies of all time. I could go on, but yeah, a lot of room to run here, and we're really excited about leaning into that zombies culture and just building a behemoth.
Right, and I'm super excited about the feature with Survive with Friends. I mean, that's going to be incredible. You know, that was my favorite feature. I mean, that's why, you know, Call of Duty Zombies was so popular. You could play with friends, see how far you can go. There was those, you know, everyone had a glitch as to how they you know, got so far within the game. But could you talk a little bit more about the feature with squads, what that entails, like how that's going to go?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
What was the question? Sorry.
Oh, I said, could you talk? No, you're good. You're good. Could you talk a little bit about more about the feature of Survive with Friends? You know, what's that going to entail? You know, where that can go essentially.
So from our perspective, multiplayer is everything, right? Like if you're playing with your friends, then it's like you're trying to compete for money. So you're all on the same team trying to compete against other teams to see how far you can go. Like eventually we're going to have 2-3 methods to compete. Squads, which is like OG COD Zombies. Eventually you last as long as you can, We're going to have duos, which is 2v2, and you guys can be in the headsets talking shit to each other. You guys can try to be coordinating. And then we're eventually going to have zombie royales, where it's last man standing, where you're playing with four. Once you get down to your house, like dodgeball. So 3 different ways. Eventually, we'd like to get into more players on the map, where it's 12 and then 24 and then 100. Of course, the map gets very heavy at that point, but that's where we want to get to. Imagine, Leo, 100-person zombie royale. We do a winner take all, and we give away like $5,000. 100 of the top players that have been competing all season long, we make, and then they all play one time, one moment, like for a chance to win huge. And the last person to survive wins. Like shit like that is just going to be so fun to stream. Like that's what people want to watch. People want to watch high stakes, high leverage situations. They don't want to stream Axie and watch, people flip cards. They don't want to stream Illuvium and watch little figurines battle each other. They want to watch people go head to head with commentary. With like Rocket League is so popular because there's flying, the aesthetics look great, it's competitive, it's scoring back and forth, you have everything you need. Same with Fortnite or Halo or Call of Duty. Like you have the winner and loser. It's very clear based off of split-second reactions, and we're going to try to lean into that as much as we can. Nice.
And I've had a great time thus far playing the beta. For those of you who don't know, the beta is now currently playable either on PC or Mac OS. I wanted to ask, now that the new beta update is actually, I noticed on the Twitter was posted. Could you maybe talk about some new features that were incorporated?
So the new beta has the pistol speedrun, and so you'll be able to clock your time. We really look at pistol speedrunning right now as the Formula One of FPS gaming. We want people to complete these speedruns as fast as they can. The world record right now is 2 minutes and 57 seconds. If any of you guys can beat that, you're very early days. We also have new anti-cheat protocol where we've actually implemented new software to be able to detect if someone is either modding with their controller or not actually using the controller, mouse, and keyboard at all. And so this is just a trial period. We want to see how it works. We've also added new gun smoke on the weapons. We've added new music for the speed run. We've also made it cleaner for Mac. Mac has been a huge problem. We've been trying to optimize as much as we can because the M1 chips, frankly, are really difficult to optimize on. So those are some of the updates. We've put in all the skins. Every single skin that we've created and teased is now in the game you can play with in solo mode. So really the next big milestone will be the multiplayer. Once the multiplayer is done and implemented, we're going to be in a good spot.
Beautiful. I did want to share in a perspective that I kind of experienced while in NFT NYC. This was right before you actually got on the podium to speak. And while I was listening, I was listening to the, every speaker speak, and there was actually in the middle, the gentleman who controls the speakers, right? The speakers, the sound, the lights. I don't know if you remember, he was just kind of right in the middle. And I happened to just look right in front of me because I was sitting right behind, and, guy was asleep. I'm talking dead asleep, hat over his eyes, like everything, right? And I'm just thinking to myself here, I'm like, there's so much value on this stage right now, and it's incredible that someone can even fathom sleeping at this point in time. So I guess that leads me to my question. How early do you really think we are within not just cryptocurrency and Web3, but with gaming now?
So from our perspective, if this was a boxing match, we're in round 2. Round 1 was everyone getting into NFTs, every NFT collection saying we need utility because they didn't have any. We're going to build a play to earn game. Everybody got screwed. So we've been, building this game for a year, strictly focusing on play to earn. That's why we're going to dominate. But I mean, we're in round 2 of a 16-round boxing match here. Like you said, the individual that's sleeping, it's his loss.
Right.
Most people come to me and say I'm a very high energy individual. They like, the passion and listening to the vision. But it's not for everybody. I mean, we post as much as we can, and people on TikTok say, "Oh, this is a scam." Like, this is why you have to prove it. You have to pay people consistently, get them out of this mindset, because they have been burned in the past. You look at something like Pixelmon, $75 million rug pull. Come on,
right.
They released a cool teaser, a cool trailer, probably cost them $1 million. They kept their other 74. So again, this is the stigma that we have to battle, and that's why I'm the perfect man for the job, because every single day I will go to battle for our community. I will go to battle for Undead Blocks, and I will show you guys this is the way, this is exactly what we're working on. Here is where the money's coming from to pay players, and then the community will make their decisions. But we have a very rabid community. As everyone knows, FPS, I think, is the strongest in terms of actually garnering an esports fan base. And so we're going to lean into that. We're going to do things like go to TwitchCon, have more in-person events, in-person tournaments. We're able to pay players. So you actually even forget that this is a Web3 game, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. If our slogan isn't kill to earn, it would be play to have fun and compete to win big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I want to go back to also to I guess projects that began, and the reason why I guess games, I don't want to say blockchain gaming, we always throw it in a category when it's not just blockchain gaming, it's just games leveraging the technology themselves. And when it first began, you know, there was so people thought that it was pretty much investors coming into the space when naturally it was gamers seeing this as a natural progression of games. And as they were coming in, you know, back to your point, rug pull after rug pull, and now we're sitting at a point where anything is speculative. It's a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. So without a doubt, we have a long way to go. But what Undead Blocks is doing right now is literally, it's industry leaders for sure, in terms of what the gamer really wants, focusing on the experience for the gamer.
And just to touch on that is, look, anything in the world can be considered a rug pull. Look at Coinbase. If you bought Coinbase at $355, now it's what, $15 on the stock price? Like, you know, this isn't something so many people were just used to all these gains all the time. My entire generation, I'm 28 going on 29. You know, you'd put your market money in the NASDAQ and go up 20% every year. Nobody was used to losses. And then when the pandemic hit, you know, everything started crashing. Everyone said, wait a minute, hold on. And then everything shot back up again through quantitative easing. And now it's shooting back down again. Like, now we actually have some volatility in the world. And so that is where games like our game, Undead Blocks, actual gameplay, actual product, Doc's team, fun to play, and large partnership backing. This is why we're going to thrive. This is why we're going to survive, because we're really excited about actually delivering a physical, tangible product to our community and then building on top of that product.
Right. And I love that. Quick question as well, you know, with the game developers that you've probably already spoken to, different game studios, you know, what should they be focusing on, you know, moving forward as they build their games out? You know, are there any, you know, maybe top one or two things that come to the top of your mind?
So really the key is release gameplay footage before the trailer and the teaser. Nobody's going to do this. Everybody's going to keep falling for the same scheme of, you know, the cinematic studio that makes the trailer is never the one that makes the teaser or makes the gameplay, you know, because it's a tried and true method. But I would say release gameplay, show people the footage, show them, look, we have a base, we have a starting point, and then garner and gather support from your community, because so many people are just tired of these cinematic trailers that never deliver. And it's even if they do deliver, it's under expectations. For Undead Blocks, by releasing the gameplay footage first, everybody knew that what bought the NFTs or invested in Undead token, they knew what they were getting. It's a finished product. And so that's why the value of our assets have been increasing. Obviously not financial advice, but I truly believe it's because we put our money where our mouth is and we show you physical, tangible product. And anyone looking to start a game or a project should have some product to deliver and show the community before they do a significant raise, like a 7-figure raise. That's just my opinion.
Right, and also making sure that the game footage that's being sent out isn't 2 seconds long and isn't 3 seconds long. I think that's also a big thing. Again, it's just that initial hype they're sending out. If there's something that's a solid, you know, minute and a half of straight gameplay, maybe even. And what I love about you guys is you guys are super transparent. I mean, Grant. Guys, when I met Grant, the first thing he asked was, you know, as you're playing, is there anything that we can improve on? And that's what I love as well. And always wanting to grow and always wanting to change. You're open to change. You're open to hear what the gamers want, right? So you might not be the best gamer out there, but you know what the gamers want. I would say that.
I appreciate the shade towards my gaming ability, but I mean, listen, guys, I'm your resource. Like, transparency is tough to come by these days. And look, there's a lot that we have to improve. Like, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but we have a beautiful game. We have an awesome community. And like I said, I am your resource. If you guys have questions, every single day we get at least a dozen people coming in our Discord. How is this sustainable? How can they possibly be doing this? Like, everybody doubts. Everybody wants to feel like they know more than someone else. And from our perspective, that is, that's key, because we need people to keep us accountable and always ask us these questions. Keeps us sharp. Iron sharpens iron, and I will answer all the tough questions. From our perspective, we've done a lot of the heavy lifting with building the game. Now it's just a matter of how big can we scale this and how far can we fly.
And I guess just to wrap it up here, I want to ask one more question. I guess this would be more of a question for the gamers. You know, as the tournament will be live, you know, the 8th of July through the 10th of July. Is there any tips for this upcoming pistol speedrun challenge that you would have to, you know, send over to some gamers?
I would say be quick. If you're doing a speed run and immediately you say, okay, I'm not beating my time, end the game and start again. End the game and start again, because you're wasting, like, especially with our 48-hour format where you have 48 hours to clock your fastest time. If you already see that you're not on pace, end it and start again. And try not to look at the timer. That's where I get in trouble too, is like, you're killing. You want to see your progress. It's human nature to just go and look at the timer and say, you know, how am I doing? Just focus on the zombies. I would start by trying to find a spawn point. It just milliseconds are going to be the difference between someone making 1,000 and someone making like 200. So having that knowledge of where the zombies are spawning, what you want to do, when you want to grab perks, if you don't want to grab perks, practice your strategy, because you guys got 3 days until our tournament goes live. So I would definitely continue practicing. I don't want to give away all the tips, but that's probably a good way to start.
It's a good start, yeah, without a doubt. And it is now live. You can now get on the beta. That round is live, so you can go ahead and practice and get ready for Friday. I know I'll be practicing for sure. You know, I'm gonna be shooting for that. You know, 2-3 minutes. You said how fast is the clock time? The fastest.
The fastest time is 2 minutes and 57 seconds.
Okay, so I'll do 56. I'll try that out.
Love it.
Well, Grant, thank you so much for hopping on. I really appreciate you coming on and taking your time to speak with the community about what Wagyu Games and what Undead Blocks is doing to really start to become the industry leaders. And I appreciate again your time with us today.
Leo, it's always a pleasure. Looking forward to doing it again soon. If you guys have questions, hit me up on Twitter, Grant_Undead. Head over to undeadblocks.com. We'll get you all the info you guys need.